Hey, I forgot to take down my screen. Please ignore it. I had my TV show beforehand. So, welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer Oracle channel. My name is Laura. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm going to do just some general messages from Spirit. And from here on out, I'm going to be on like every night doing live streams. So come on by and introduce yourself. Those of you that are new to this channel, this is mainly a soul healing channel, which means that we do go into soulmate twin flame relationships. We do go into looking at your work and other areas of your life, but I do it from a spiritual perspective. I tell you what you need to do to integrate your spiritual lesson. A lot of times we live situations that could have turned out good, but they wind up turning out undesirable. And they do so because we have wounds, soul wounds. And then we attract people that also have wounds. And then we get into relationships with them, and they're considered to be karmic relationships. Sorry if you hear that coughing. Some people do not know how to cough without everybody in the world hearing like a thing. So I always like to start off using my deck, pulling cards from my deck, because my deck's going to tell us what the soul wounds are, what the spiritual blocks are, what needs to be healed. Pretty much. Okay. So vanity is the first card out. So you may be somebody that is very concerned about your appearance or the person that you're connected to. Now, no, again, energies can be fluid, so roles may be reversed. You may have to flip it, switch it, twist it, interpret it as it resonates best for you. Also know that energies could be past, present, or future. It's sometimes if it's something that comes out that you resonate with something that happened, not really that's going to happen or that's happening in the present moment, it means that you need to go back and visit that information. And the reason why is because it may be influencing what's happening in the present moment. It may be a lot more relevant than what you think. So, okay, then Dark Night of the Soul is something that, again, popped out. Now, I'm kind of feeling like somebody is in the dark night of the soul because they were really feeding on their ego. They might have been a player running around with a lot of different people. They, again, if they had a business, I feel like they were not really on the up and up. They tried to do things underneath the table. I feel like this person, now this could be, again, whoever's watching the video or whoever you're tapped into, because this is a general meeting for whoever that lands on this. So no zodiac, any zodiac. So what I'm feeling is that you're attached to, or again, is hopefully it's not you, that's going through a dark night of the soul because they were a player. They were a player in every area of their life. It's like if they had a lottery for a shit lottery, like to win like the worst prizes, again, like a month in hell, like where you have to shovel shit, like just horrible karma. I feel like this person is going through it all because of their ego. Now, this happens a lot of times. It happens if you grew up in like a very not just poor, because poor is relating to money, but also an environment that was very like closed off to spirituality and how things work. They might have grown up religious, but not spiritual, where I consider religious is something that, you know, we learn and we learn from other people's perspectives and then we interpret it. Where spiritual is we get our own experiences and then we interpret those experiences. So a person was very sheltered, so they don't have a lot of experiences. And I also feel like they grew up poor, so their way and what they think is the smart way and the right way is if you make a lot of money, then you're going to be successful. But this person was not successful because it seems like money, they did things under the table, but they didn't necessarily need to do that because their business was good. They didn't need to run around with 1,000 different people. They just did. So they made choices that were karmic. And karmic is learned, and in this particular situation is learn from an undesirable life experience, which they're going to get bad life experience. We can also learn good. That's why I say that. We too much attend karma, like associate karma with bad. And karma is not good or bad. It just is. It's learned. It's because in the spiritual realm, there is no bad. In the spiritual realm, actually, the bad is good because it means you learned more. It means that your consciousness is really going to expand. So this person is, again, doesn't necessarily mean that they were a bad person either. We look at intention, and the person's intention was never to be bad. It was more or less, I want to be loved. I want to be liked. They weren't coming from a place of, I feel good about myself. That's why vanity is here. Vanity is, I care really a lot about what I look like because I don't feel good about myself inside. So I have to give the impression. And when I do that, it gets me in trouble because I'm living from an ego state of mind. I'm not living from, again, a spiritual state of mind, which is where I care about other people and why I'm really here, which is to give and receive of love, which is through what I love to do and becoming love and connecting to people through what I love. And this person, again, had a job and seemed to make money, but they made a lot of money, but they used that money to run around and impress 1,000 different women. And again, buy a lot of different things and to acquire things because that's what they associated success to be. But it got them into trouble. It brought them into a dark night of the soul, which is common because it's like we think that we're building a strong foundation because we're acquiring things. We think that we're building something that matters because, of how much money is in our bank, or again, the house that we live in, or what we do for our children, or how much we may even donate to church or a charity. But that's not sustaining all the time. And so again, if you grew up in a limited place, meaning a limited perception, maybe again your family was very religious and you had to live by those confinements. It's again whatever the environment was for your person or you. Take it as it resonates. And so Promethean fire. So we say, what do we do with this energy? Okay, because this is where the person is now. It's again, but what do we do with the energy? So what is Promethean fire? Promethean fire is that emotion, that energy that gets stirred up inside of us when we're passionate about something, when we love to do something. That's what it is. And it's also that fire and that fury and that, again, that passion, but that energy. And that passion can be happy and joyous, but there's also a little bit of control and fiery energy and passion, let's face it. So what do we do with that energy that stirs up inside of us when we are in the dark night of the soul? Because what happens with the dark night of the soul is we're putting a time out and we have to look at ourselves and we have to confront the shadow parts of ourselves that were hidden. Again, and this person was, again, thought that their life was going to be successful because of how much they acquired and what all their money. And so, but the bottom line is what they've realized is it brought them to a place of darkness. And so that darkness, when they looked inside of themselves, they have to look at their wounds. It's like you have to say, well, why? Again, why am I here? Why am I in this dark, shadowy place? And so what happens is our thoughts create emotions, and that's where the Promethean fire comes into place, because Promethean fire could be passion, but it also could be transmutation, where again, transmutation is again where we take that negative energy again, and it's all balled up inside of us. It's again because our emotions create energy, and even though this person is healing, They're still digging up all that gunk. It's again because they have to look at it. But then what do you do with that energy? Because if we don't do anything with that energy will turn to cancer. Because eventually people come to a realization. Eventually something happens, whether spirit brings us something, tells us something, does something, creates something, or again, and that might be through spirit bringing a person into your life or a situation. The bottom line is the Promethean fire is needs to be channeled into purpose. We need to ground it. Now, this is also dangerous energy because if you met this person before, again, because energy is fluid, so I don't know, met this person before their trauma and again, and before their dark night of the soul, they've been in a dark place. So they also may be coming out of this place looking for passion, looking for love, because they don't know about passion. They don't know about the other passion, and the other passion is through their unique individuality. Because I understand when there's trauma, when we hold on to trauma, what is trauma? Well, it comes in the form of shame, victimization, betrayal, fear. It's again, it creates stagnant energy. It makes it very difficult for our blood to flow through our body. And so what happens then is that if it stays in our body, as I just said, we get sick because there's side effects to holding stress in the body. We know that. And it's again, our chakras are endocrine glands. That's where they're located. So it's again, the psychological and the emotional aspects of self are the parts of self that need to be healed. And those are the imbalanced, again, spiritual blocks, which are shadow. But if you were to remove those shadows, you can't without putting something in its place, which is the law of transmutation. Again, so this energy, again, could be confused if a person's not healed and this person is not healed. So you have to be careful because they're going to come in and they're going to be passionate, they're going to be fiery, they're going to be emotional, they're going to be unstable, they're going to be, it's again, because part of them is not going to know who their identity is anymore too. Because if their identity was built around vanity, again, where they were running around with a lot of different people and was looking like a Don Juan and had all this money and was spending it, and now they're not running around like Don Juan. They don't even feel confident to do that because, again, they're going through karmic lessons. So what are karmic lessons? Obviously, it has to be a breakup, and it could be a very big one, a significant one. Could be a breakup within a marriage or a big business or both. It could be, again, where certain structures of the person's life is really crumbling down, which, again, I visualize the tower, but that's really what a dark night of the soul is. The person is realizing that, again, that is not them, but that energy is the Promethean fire, like that comes from it. Now it can be, again, confused for that person. That person's not going to feel good. And so if they're in balance, they're going to try to do something that makes them feel good. It's again to secrete the serotonin and the other chemicals in the brain, especially because they're out of balance. And when we're out of balance, our endocrine glands are out of balance, which means our hormones are out of balance. So if you look at a person, you can see their emotions are, are all over the place. They're not balanced. And the reason why is because this energy, and this energy, again, from Promethean fire could be lusty, loving energy, but that would be karmic energy. This person would create a lot of karma for themselves in this position, but it's also that it could be channeled, because you have to say, again, it depends on what you do. Karma is learned. So right here, the person's in a fork in the road. And why are they in a fork in the road? Because they have a lot of karma. Why? Because, again, they were thinking that they were Don Juan, spend a lot of money, or, again, Miss Juan, if that's what you call it, again, having a lot of money, pretending to be something that they really weren't, to feed their ego. Well, I mean, part of it is that they do well. So they do financially well, but again, they were pretending to be that person. So what this is saying is that you take that away who they perceive that they were because they were going through a dark night of soul. They don't know who they are anymore. So be careful if this person comes back, because they're going to come back all fiery and emotional and kind of seem as if it's dramatic, but it's not because they want to be dramatic. It's because they're emotionally not stable. They're emotionally not stable because of what I just said. Okay, so innovation. I don't read my cards upside down. This is my deck, by the way, the Shadow Healing deck, and I don't read my deck upside down. So innovation is, again, what do we do with the Promethean fire? Again, we create, we manifest with it. It's, again, because that energy needs to be channeled into purpose. The whole thing is that purpose will become that, again, the identity. So again, if this is you that's listening to this, that you're going through a dark night of the soul, and now all your emotions are, you're going to channel those emotions into your purpose, which is your ideas, your passions, your unique individuality. It's, again, because the shame and the pain and the fear is what you believe you are. Those are the shadow parts of self, but that's not who this person is. And if you feel that this is who you're listening to this and you resonate with this, well, this is not who you are either. You, again, are your spirit, your God, your the universe. You, again, have unlimited potentiality. And again, depending on how clear and how expansive your consciousness is, when we come from a limited consciousness, what happens is that we're coming from a place of fear. We're coming from a place of victimization. We're coming from these places, and nothing good can be built on it. That's a very weak foundation. And so right now, it's either you or the person you're connected to has a very weak, again, foundation to each other. It would be because this person doesn't feel good about themselves. And not really because of finances, because they were able to run around and do all that, but because, again, of their spiritual beliefs about who they are. It's about their limited beliefs about the world and what they believe that they can have. Okay, so what's your connection to this person from a past life perspective? Okay, biblical. So this would explain, okay, because very structured, very left brain, logical, linear. Again, when we talk about the Bible, we're talking about dogmatic practice. Dogmatic practice is built on law, and it's just what it needs to be from their law, but it's very rigid, and it's not, again, it's kind of like tunnel vision. And what I said was, this person, the person that you're connected to, or this is you, take it as it resonates, is going through a dark night of the soul, but they're going through a dark night of the soul because they learned more from a Bible, like a religious, a dogmatic perspective about how to become a good person, how to be successful in life. And it was very rigid. There was no education about self, about integrating the Bible into life, again, by living it, by living the principles of it, by understanding it. So, meaning their character was bad. And their character was bad because they didn't care about other people. Why? Because they were running around like Don Juan or Mrs. Juan, pretending that they were someone that they weren't. Again, feeding their ego, spending a lot of money, buying things, thinking things were who they were, basing too much time and energy and on creating themselves through outside resources, not realizing that you create yourself by healing yourself and by finding yourself. When you find yourself, you begin to heal yourself. This person, again, was taught wrong. And again, so that he was living more from the world. Again, why? Because vanity is that. It's more from a physical perspective. So they're in the process of, again, of all this energy, this emotional energy that's rising up. And again, they're coming towards you. But we have to say that if they are, that this is a soulmate twin flame relationship. And we want to know, again, what what's the point of the relationship, and whether or not you guys have been together before, and what wounds are there. But we understand now from past life, this person incarnated into a family that was very religious to follow out certain biblical truths, but they never learned the principles of applying that knowledge to their life. They learned it more from a school perspective and a dogmatic perspective, somebody else's perspective, which is not, and there's no emotional connection to that. It's just fact. And when there that is, you're not having a real personal experience. So want to see what, again, traumas and wounds they might have and what ones you do. Because if this person's coming into your life, you're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. And you'll say, this person triggers me. It's, again, the reason why is they may be the catalyst for your healing to look at your stuff. So I want to just look at and see, okay, denial. I think for a long time, your person, again, was in denial, unwilling to face the truth, rejecting a good thing, seeing all sides of the situation. Again, but there we see it again, that limited perception, that tunnel vision, which I said, if someone, like, again, grew up in these times and that's all the practice, we see how rigid it is. It's, again, especially if the people were poor and all they had was, again, Bible and church, So I want to see if a few cards like jumped out, and I'm going to take them just because I always feel that there's no mistakes. So there was defensive and there's lost. And so I feel like lost because they don't know who they are, lost because their whole identity is gone, defensive because, again, they feel like you're going to confront them, you're going to say something, or that everyone that knows about their situation is going to say something. So it's, again, that's that ego that's protecting. And that also means that the person lived around a lot of people that were judgmental or are judgmental. So they have just learned to be that way, and they're angry. So they're not really going to be open to having open discussion about their personal experience. I feel like, and that's the stage that they are in right now. Again, which is, if the person's going through a dark night of soul and they're in the muck of it, they are going to feel lost. Because, again, their identity is gone. They are going to be defensive because they're like, I know I did a lot of stuff. I don't really want to hear it. And really, talking about what they did doesn't really heal anything, because you can't go back in time. You have to get to the root of it and look at why that person did, not what they did, but why they did what they did. That's how you deal with the shadow. Otherwise, the person's going to be stuck and angry because they're angry at themselves. They're angry at you. There's a sense of, I'm angry with myself, but you should also pity me. If you love me, you would understand. And there's a sense of just, again, another layer of why they're very emotionally out of balance, which is what happens. Let's see what their message would be to you. Actually, yeah, I'll do that. Now I'll see that I'll do the other twin flame oracle. My world is falling apart right now, and I don't know how to fix it. It's not right for me to dump that on you. So we know that because the person's going through a dark night of the soul. It says it right here. This is why they're angry. So they actually know too, if they come to you while they're in this out of balance phase, that you'd be like, take a hike, Jack. Possibly because I feel like, you are probably in a good space. I'm focused on my career and finances right now because I don't want to struggle again. I'm afraid to share that. And that's, again, what I was saying about this person's world's falling apart, maybe a separation from a marriage, again, or a business, or both. And so money is definitely affected. And when money is completely affected, this person's world is falling apart, and course is falling apart because this person's is their identity is no more who they perceived that they were, who their ego pretended who they are. And there's nothing more stressful than when you challenge a person's reality. Never mind when we see that our reality isn't what we perceived our reality to be. So I also want to see if there's any other messages. I think the world of you. So again, maybe you're this person's hope and inspiration. Again, and that's the best place to be. When a person, because remember, when a person's like this, again, very low, they don't really have that much faith. They don't really have much hope. So love is healing and unconditional love is healing. So soulmate twin flames tend to do that. Again, they inspire us to be better. It's again, though they also trigger the hell out of us, they inspire us to be a bit better because there's so much unconditional love. And so that I'm feeling is the energy that's pulling this person out of their muck, like the hope that you're again going to be open to it. Okay, let's see what twin flame soulmate. This is messages. Sometimes I feel like you're speaking to me in my head. At times it triggers me because I wonder how much you can see into me. So again, this person is not in a good space. So soulmate twin flame relationships, they have this ESP connection, right? They have an ESP connection through the mind and heart. So when they're tapped into this, the energy of a person, it's like you can feel when they're there, you can feel when they're not. And so when a person doesn't feel good about themselves and there's a sense of, I don't want you to feel that. I built my ego up here again, and this person's ego is already crumbling down. And now you're peeking in and looking at my life and I'm ashamed of it. And it's again, that's why it's triggering the person. The person has shame, which is what needs to come out of them. It's again, that's what needs to be integrated within them because they created a bunch of shameful acts, right? Again, not really being on the up and up with money in their business, not really being genuine with people, again, being really in their ego, buying really a lot of stuff, being very self-absorbed, all ego driven. And again, that's gone. That's gone. A person, again, doesn't know more. So let's see. My ego is fragile to criticism and rejection. I've created walls to protect myself. So again, this is the soulmate twin flame relationship right now. So understand on one level, it's very healing for this person to have you, but on another level, it's so triggering. And that is the paradox of the soulmate twin flame relationship because you're getting someone that is very ego and you may be very spiritual. So you're on two different planes to begin with. But unconditional love teaches because no one should really be all up in the spiritual realm and no one should be all in the physical realm. We need to have balance in our life. And the way that we get balance and or taught balance is through our soulmate twin flame relationships. It's through our relationships, really, again, the ones that we love. But our soulmate twin flame relationships really do because they're usually on the opposite spectrum of who we are. We're like opposites attract. And so again, they don't think the way that we do. They don't process information the way that we do. And they also don't, handle things the way that we do. Maybe you're getting like someone that's completely opposite. So when I say that we do, it means everybody. You're pulling, if you're getting someone that's opposite, it doesn't mean that there aren't things that are also very similar and commonalities like experiences that you went through or like things that you like or things that you follow. What I'm saying is the way that you handle things. It's the same wound, but one may be very emotional and the other person doesn't allow their emotions at all. So again, two different planes. and having to deal with that. So how would we learn? We wouldn't stick around long enough for it to learn unless there was unconditional love, unless we were getting something out of it, which is that unconditional love. And that's how we learn about God, because God is unconditional love. There is no ownership. There is no expectation. You get that with your soulmate twin flame, but it doesn't mean you don't want to rip their hair out. It doesn't mean that you don't want to kill them. But also, no, a lot of that happens within soulmate twin flame relationships. It's all about divine timing because the relationship is divine. It's karmic because it means learn. And it means learn because it's drawing out all your shit. And it's, again, are you going to be triggered? Are you going to react the same way? Are you going to act the same way? What this is saying on some level, that this person like is doing, is not anywhere near you right now because they're literally going through it and they're embarrassed of what they're going through. I want to just see real fast, like, what is your feeling towards it? So, okay, you got a Queen of Cups reversed. So there's a sense of you're just not giving anything right now. You're not giving because the Queen of Cups is all about giving love and is all about love, and you're not, again, giving it. But it's also considered transformation. So this relationship is on hold right now because of where this person is, and you understand that. And there's 7 of Wands, which is coping. So you're dealing with it. You're dealing with it. I mean, it came out reversed, but it's, again, you're dealing with it. It's like you're dealing with it emotionally is how I would take it, but you're dealing with it. And I feel like you have your good days and you have your bad days, and that is very normal too of the soulmate twin flame relationship because it's drawn to trigger you. And if you're dealing with a person that's not emotional and has problems communicating, then fear of abandonment might be one of your wounds. And so it's time to look at it, deal with it, get into your own soul's path, feed yourself, give yourself the love and the support. Learn that to integrate that spiritual lesson, especially if you're going to deal with this person. Because if you're going to deal with this person mechanism is to deal with things where they don't communicate, they hibernate, they, again, did a lot of things, they have a big ego. This is how we know this. So again, you're going to have to counteract that. Otherwise, you're going to continually fight with this person, because I believe that this person, is in the healing process, but they're eventually going to come back. And I say that because there's, like, they think the world of you. They think the world of you. I'm going to just put one more. I know I said, I can never find the right words to say to you. I push you away instead of bringing you closer to me. So it's, again, person still is in that healing pattern, but I do believe that this is a soulmate twin flame relationship. It's just where this relationship is right now. So I don't see them returning right now, but I can imagine and doing like a reading somewhere down the line and seeing them come back, because there's still a lot of love here. The connection is still there. It's not broken. It's not severed completely. And a lot of times it will not be severed until you learn the spiritual lesson. That's how we learn it. And so I'm going to close out. Now, if you resonated with this reading, please give me a like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you felt about the reading. I'm going to be on every night doing live streams, and I hope to see you guys and be interactive. Please don't mind my green screen. I forgot to take it down from my TV show. For those of you that, excuse me, are into healing or want to know more about healing, check out my website at pureenergyhealer.com, and also check out my TV show called Rewired. It airs every Tuesday night on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And it's all about transformation, healing, and self-transformation, healing, and Christ consciousness. All right, guys, until next time, be true to you. And again, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and if you write the word healer in the description box and I see it, and because you watched this video, well, then guess what? You can win a free psychic reading, because every week I will be looking for who writes the word healer and picking someone and doing a free psychic reading on air. Okay, I hope to see you guys soon. And until next time, be true to you. Bye.